The crystal towers of Vorthan Prime stretched high into the purple sky. Inside the largest tower, the Galactic Council was meeting. 12 different alien species sat around a massive circular table. Each one looked different from the others. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few had skin that changed colors as they spoke. Admiral Krevex was the largest being in the room. His body was covered in thick blue scales and he had 4 arms. He clicked his sharp teeth together as he looked at the holographic displays floating above the table. The images showed human colonies scattered across 17 different star systems. "Look at these pathetic settlements," Admiral Krevex said in his deep voice. "The humans think they can expand into our territory with these weak colonies." The other council members leaned forward to examine the images. They saw simple space stations orbiting planets. The stations looked like basic metal structures with solar panels and communication dishes. On the planets below, they could see small towns and farming areas. Everything looked peaceful and defenseless. "They have no military ships," said Counselor Vorthal, a tall, thin being with purple skin. "Our scouts report only cargo vessels and research ships moving between their worlds." "Their weapons are primitive," added General Threxik, whose tentacles waved as he spoke. "Basic plasma rifles and simple defense turrets. Nothing that could threaten our battle fleets." At the far end of the table sat a small human woman. Commander Hyun wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations or medals. She had been listening quietly to the alien discussion. Her dark eyes moved from one speaker to another, but she said nothing. Admiral Krevex turned his attention to her. "Human, your people have violated the Neutral Zone Treaty. You have built colonies in systems that belong to the Galactic Council." Commander Hyun stood up slowly. She was tiny compared to the aliens around her, but she did not seem afraid. "The systems we colonized were marked as uninhabited on all galactic charts. We followed proper procedures and filed all required documentation." "Documentation means nothing," Admiral Krevex growled. "The Council has decided these systems are needed for galactic security. You will evacuate all 17 colonies within 30 standard days." "That is impossible," Commander Hyun replied calmly. "Each colony has thousands of civilians. We have families, schools, hospitals, and farms. These are not military outposts. They are homes." The alien council members began making various sounds of amusement. Some clicked, others buzzed, and a few made sounds like grinding metal. Their translation devices worked hard to convert the sounds into laughter that humans could understand. "Homes," General Threxik's tentacles curled with what looked like amusement. "You humans are so emotional about everything. These are just settlements. You can build new ones in systems we approve." "The Council's decision is final," Admiral Krevex announced. "Remove your people or we will remove them for you." Commander Hyun looked around the table at each alien face. Some looked angry, others seemed bored, and a few appeared genuinely amused by what they saw as human stubbornness. "The United Earth government respectfully declines your demand," she said simply. The room fell silent. Admiral Krevex's scales changed from blue to dark red. "You decline? You have no choice in this matter, human. Our fleet has over 2,000 warships. Your people have cargo haulers and farming equipment." "Nevertheless, we decline," Commander Hyun repeated. She gathered her papers and walked toward the exit. As she passed each council member, she nodded politely. When she reached the door, she turned back to face the table. "The people of Earth wish you all peace and prosperity," she said. "We hope wisdom will guide your future decisions." After she left, the council chamber erupted in various alien sounds of disbelief and anger. Meanwhile, far away in the Kepler system, Captain Day stood on the bridge of his ship New Sol. The vessel looked like a standard research ship from the outside. It had the usual sensor arrays, communication equipment, and cargo holds that civilian ships carried. Dr. Rena worked at a station nearby, studying data about the local planets and their ecosystems. She was a xenobiologist who had been cataloging new plant and animal species they had discovered. Her work looked completely peaceful and scientific. Engineer Tay moved between different control panels, making adjustments to various systems. To anyone watching, he appeared to be doing routine maintenance on ship systems, but the modifications he was making were not routine at all. "Captain," Dr. Rena called out, "I am detecting unusual energy readings from the alien ships at the system edge." Captain Day moved to her station and looked at the sensor display. Dozens of warships had gathered just outside the Kepler system. They were not hiding their presence, but they were not advancing either. "They're waiting for orders," Captain Day said quietly. Engineer Tay looked up from his work. Sir, the modifications are complete. All systems are ready. Good work, Captain Day replied. He walked to his command chair and activated a secure communication channel. The message was short and used code words that would mean nothing to anyone listening. A few minutes later, his communication system chimed with an incoming message. It contained only 4 words, but those words changed everything. Protocol 7 is active. Captain Day closed the message and looked at his crew. Dr. Rena had stopped her biological research and was now working at what appeared to be a sensor station. But the sensors she was operating were not designed for studying plants and animals. Engineer Tay had finished his modifications and was running diagnostic tests on systems that definitely did not belong on a civilian research vessel. All stations report ready. Captain, Dr. Rena announced. Weapon systems operational, Engineer Tay added. Captain Day nodded. He opened another communication channel, this one connected to every human settlement in the system. Attention all personnel. This is Captain Day of the New Sol. Protocol 7 is now in effect. All civilians to designated safe areas. All defense teams to stations. This is not a drill. Across the Kepler system, things that had looked like simple farming colonies and research stations began to change. What the Galactic Council scouts had seen were indeed farms and research facilities. But they had only seen the parts that were meant to be seen. On New Busan Colony, farmers finished their work and headed not to their homes, but to underground facilities that extended deep into the planet's surface. The solar collectors that powered the colony adjusted their positions, but not to follow the sun. They were aiming at the alien warships gathering at the edge of the system. The cargo ships moving between colonies received the same message. Their crews began opening cargo holds that contained much more than farming equipment and scientific instruments. The asteroid mining stations throughout the system went quiet on all communication frequencies. But inside those asteroids, automatic systems were activating equipment that had been waiting in silence for years. Back on Vorthon Prime, Admiral Krivex was reviewing the final attack plans. His intelligence officers assured him that the human colonies would surrender after the first demonstration of Galactic Council power. The humans had no military ships, no orbital defenses, and no way to call for help. Begin the attack at dawn, he ordered. Target the largest colony first. A few destroyed buildings should convince the others to evacuate peacefully. As the alien fleets moved toward 17 different human systems, they were confident in their overwhelming advantage. They had done their research, studied their targets, and planned for every possibility they could imagine. But they had only seen what humans wanted them to see. The greatest military deception in galactic history was about to be revealed, and the Galactic Council was about to learn that appearances could be very deceiving. Dawn came to the Kepler system as Admiral Krivex had planned. His massive fleet of warships moved forward like a wall of metal and death. 2,000 vessels spread across space, their weapons charging and their shields at full power. The Admiral sat in his command chair, watching the tactical displays with satisfaction. Target the main colony first, he ordered his officers. Fire a warning shot across their civilian areas. That should make them understand our power. The Dreadnought's main gun swiveled toward New Busan Colony. The weapons were designed to destroy entire cities with a single blast. Admiral Krivex expected to see panicked civilians running for escape ships that would never come. But something was wrong. Sir, his tactical officer called out, I'm reading unusual energy signatures from the colony surface. What kind of signatures? Admiral Krivex demanded. Unknown, sir. The patterns don't match anything in our database. Before the Admiral could respond, the asteroid field around New Busan Colony began to move. Huge chunks of rock that had been floating peacefully in space for thousands of years suddenly changed course. Their surfaces split open like giant flowers blooming in the darkness. Inside each asteroid was a massive defense platform. Weapon arrays unfolded from hidden compartments. Shield generators activated with bright flashes of energy. What had looked like empty space was actually filled with military installations that had been perfectly disguised as natural objects. Colonel Minho stood in the command center deep beneath New Busan Colony. The facility extended down through solid rock for over 2 kilometers. What the aliens had seen on the surface was real, but it was only the tip of a very large iceberg. All civilians are in the deep shelters, reported Lieutenant Gina from her console. Blast doors are sealed and emergency life. Support is active. Defense platforms are online, added Sergeant Borum. Weapons are charged and targeting. Systems are locked on enemy vessels, Colonel. Minho watched his tactical display as the alien fleet approached. They were moving in the standard formation used for attacking defenseless targets. Their ships were spread out to cover maximum area, but they were not prepared for serious resistance. They really thought we were helpless, Colonel Minho said quietly. Activate surface defenses. On the colony surface, the solar collectors that powered the settlement began to rotate. But they were not following the sun. Instead, they turned toward the approaching alien ships and began to glow with intense energy. Dr. Sujin ran the final checks on her console. She had been working on the system for 3 years, disguising it as research equipment for studying solar radiation. In reality, she had built the most powerful directed energy weapon the galaxy had ever seen. Fusion reactors at 100%, she announced. Particle beam arrays are aligned and ready. The first alien ships entered weapons range and opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked down toward the colony, expecting to find undefended buildings and panicked civilians. Instead, their shots struck massive energy shields that materialized out of nowhere. The shields were powered by the same fusion reactors that supplied energy to the colony's homes and factories. But these reactors were not the simple power plants they appeared to be. They were military-grade fusion systems capable of powering planetary defense networks. Return fire, Colonel Minho ordered. The disguised solar collectors fired as one. Beams of pure energy lanced up from the planet's surface, striking the alien ships with devastating accuracy. The first wave of attackers found themselves facing weapons that could punch through their heaviest armor. But the real surprise came from the asteroid defense platforms. These hidden installations had been built inside hollowed-out asteroids over a period of 15 years. Each one contained enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. Admiral Krivex watched in growing alarm as his tactical display showed alien ships being destroyed by weapons that had not existed moments before. The simple farming colony he had planned to conquer was fighting back with military technology that matched or exceeded his own. Where did these weapons come from? He shouted at his officers. Our scouts reported no military installations. Sir, we're receiving reports from all attack groups, his communication officer announced. Every human colony is showing similar defensive capabilities. They have weapons and shields that were completely hidden from our sensors. The Admiral's scales turned from red to black, a sign of extreme stress in his species. His perfect plan was falling apart. The humans were not running in terror. They were fighting back with a level of preparation that suggested they had been expecting this attack for years. On New Busan, more surprises were revealing themselves. The innocent-looking communication towers throughout the colony activated jamming systems that disrupted alien communications. The water treatment plants opened hidden missile silos. Even the greenhouse domes retracted to reveal additional weapon emplacements. Captain Yuna received the signal she had been waiting for. Her ship had been hiding inside a hollowed-out asteroid for 6 months, along with 20 other vessels. The asteroid had been positioned to look like part of the natural debris field, but it was actually a fully equipped military base. All ships, launch now, she ordered. The asteroid split apart like a broken egg. 21 human warships emerged from inside, their engines already hot and their weapons ready. They had been built in secret shipyards hidden throughout human space, then moved into position and concealed years before the attack. Captain Yuna's squadron struck the alien fleet from behind, while they were focused on the colony defenses. The enemy's ships had not expected to be attacked from their rear by vessels that had been invisible to all their sensors. The battle raged for 6 hours. When it finally ended, Admiral Krivex found himself retreating with less than half his original fleet. The simple human colony had not only survived his assault, it had inflicted massive casualties on his forces. Similar scenes were playing out in 16 other star systems. Every human colony the aliens had attacked was revealing hidden defenses that had been prepared for decades. What looked like peaceful farming settlements were actually fortress worlds that had been disguising their true nature since the day they were founded. Back in his damaged command ship, Admiral Krivex stared at the reports coming in from all attack groups. Every single assault had failed. The humans had not just defended themselves, they had done so with weapons and tactics that showed incredible long-term planning. How could our intelligence have been so wrong? He asked his surviving officers, but none of them had an answer. They had seen only what the humans wanted them to see. The greatest military deception in galactic history had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest expectations. The war that was supposed to last one day had only just begun. And Admiral Krivex was beginning to realize that his forces might not be the hunters he had believed them to be. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened just 12 hours after the failed attacks. The great crystal chamber on Vorthon Prime had never seen such chaos. Alien representatives from 12 different species shouted at each other in their native languages, while translation devices struggled to keep up. Intelligence Chief Vorthal stood at the center of the room, his purple skin darker than usual with stress. The holographic displays around him showed the devastating results from all 17 attack sites. Over half the galactic fleet had been destroyed or damaged in what was supposed to be a simple show of force. "Explain to me how this happened," Admiral Krivex demanded. His scales were still black from the battle, and 3 of his forearms were in medical braces. "Our scouts spent months studying those human colonies. They reported no military capabilities." Chief Vorthal activated a new set of displays. They showed detailed sensor readings from before and after the attacks. "The humans have been deceiving us for decades. Every installation we identified as civilian had hidden military components." "That's impossible," General Threxik protested, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "Our sensors can detect weapons from light years away. No civilization has technology advanced enough to hide entire defense networks." "Apparently, one does," Chief Vorthal replied grimly. "Far away from the council chambers, General Jehoon sat in his command center beneath Earth's moon. The facility extended deep into Luna's core, hidden beneath what appeared to be a simple mining operation. For 50 years, alien observers had watched human miners extract minerals from the moon's surface. They had never suspected that those same miners were also excavating the largest military command facility in human space. "Report from all sectors," General Jehoon ordered. Major Sun-Hee stepped forward with her datapad. "All 17 colonies have successfully repelled the first wave attacks. Casualties are minimal. Our hidden defense networks performed exactly as designed." "What about enemy losses?" the general asked. "Significant. The alien fleets lost approximately 60% of their attacking forces. They're regrouping at the edge of each system, probably waiting for new orders." General Jehoon nodded with satisfaction. Operation Deep Shield had taken 40 years to plan and implement. Every human colony established since first contact with alien civilizations had been designed, with this moment in mind: open communication with Captain Yuna's squadron. He ordered. Captain Yuna's face appeared on the main screen. Behind her, the bridge of her ship hummed with activity. Her vessel was one of hundreds that formed humanity's secret fleet, ships that had been built in hidden shipyards and concealed throughout human space. "General, my squadron is in position for Phase 2, she reported. "The jump gate network is fully operational." The jump gates were perhaps humanity's greatest secret. What alien intelligence had identified as communication relays connecting human colonies were actually instantaneous transportation devices. They allowed human military forces to move between star systems in minutes instead of weeks. "Activate the network," General Jehoon commanded. "It's time to show them what they're really fighting." Throughout human space, hidden jump gates began to activate. They had been disguised as standard subspace communication arrays for decades. Alien observers had watched data transmissions, pass through them without ever realizing they were also capable of transporting entire battle fleets. Captain Yuna's squadron disappeared from the Kepler system in materialized seconds. Later in the Proxima system, where another group of alien attackers was regrouping, the enemy had no warning before human ships began appearing out of empty space. Engineer Do-hyun worked frantically at his station aboard the captured alien scout ship. His team had managed to take the vessel intact during the battle at New Busan, along with its crew. The aliens were now learning firsthand how much they had underestimated humanity. "The power systems on this ship are actually quite primitive," Do-hyun explained to his alien prisoner, being called Krixtel. "Our fusion reactors produce 3 times as much energy using half the fuel." Krixtel stared at the human engineer in disbelief. "Impossible. Our technology has been developed over thousands of years. Your species has barely reached the stars." "That's true," Do-hyun agreed, "but we had good teachers. We studied every piece of alien technology we could get our hands on. Then we improved on it." The alien prisoner looked around the human ship's engineering section. The equipment was clearly more advanced than anything in his own vessel. The humans had not just learned from alien technology, they had surpassed it. "How long have you been preparing for this war?" Krixtel asked quietly. "Since the day we first met your people," Do-hyun replied. "Earth learned a long time ago that peaceful civilizations only survive when potential enemies know the cost of aggression will be too high." Back on Luna Base, General Ji-hoon was coordinating the next phase of operations. His displays showed the true scope of human military preparation. Every colony world had underground installations that extended for kilometers. Every space station had hidden weapon systems. Every trade route was protected by concealed defense platforms. "Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from 3 separate alien battle groups," reported Colonel Minji. "They want to negotiate." "Tell them to contact their leadership," General Ji-hoon replied. "We don't negotiate with individual commanders. The Galactic Council started this war. They need to end it." The general activated another display that showed the full extent of the hidden jump gate network. It connected not just the 17 colonies under attack, but over 200 human settlements throughout the galaxy. What appeared to be peaceful expansion had actually been the construction of the largest fortress network in galactic history. "Open a channel to all human colonies," he ordered. Across human space, settlement leaders received General Ji-hoon's message simultaneously. Mayor Heejin of New Sol Colony, Director Minsu of the Tau Ceti Research Station, and dozens of other administrators who had spent years maintaining the illusion that their settlements were purely civilian. "Phase 2 is now active," the general announced. "All hidden installations are cleared to reveal full capabilities. The deception phase is over." Throughout human space, the transformation began. Mining stations revealed themselves to be military shipyards. Research facilities activated weapon systems that had been disguised as scientific equipment. Cargo ships opened hidden compartments containing enough firepower to level cities. The orbital platform above New Sol Colony had appeared to be a simple trade hub for 50 years. Alien merchants had docked there regularly, buying human goods and never suspecting they were visiting one of the most heavily armed installations in the galaxy. Now its true nature was revealed as launch. Bays opened and squadrons of fighter craft emerged. Dr. Kyung had spent decades maintaining the fiction that his facility orbiting Kepler 442b was devoted to studying stellar phenomena. In reality, his research station was a fully equipped military shipyard that had been building warships for 20 years. Each completed vessel had been launched in secret and hidden throughout the system. "Begin full production," Dr. Kyung ordered his staff. "We no longer need to maintain the research facade." The facility's hull plates retracted to reveal massive construction bays where human warships had been built in complete secrecy. Automated systems that had been disguised as scientific instruments began assembling new vessels at an incredible pace. Within hours of the failed alien attacks, the galaxy's balance of power had completely shifted. What every civilization had seen as humanity's peaceful expansion was revealed to be the most extensive military buildup in galactic history. The aliens had expected to conquer isolated farming colonies. Instead, they found themselves at war with a fully militarized civilization that had been preparing for this exact scenario for half a century, and humanity was just getting started. Admiral Krivek stared at his tactical display in complete disbelief. The second wave attack was failing even worse than the first. Human military assets were appearing everywhere his sensors looked, emerging from locations that his best scouts had mapped as empty space just days before. "Sir, we have a problem," his tactical officer announced, his voice shaking with fear. "The asteroid field in Sector 7 just opened fire on our flanking squadron." "Asteroids don't have weapons," Admiral Krivek growled. "These ones do, sir." The display showed what had appeared to be a natural asteroid field revealing dozens of hidden weapon platforms. Each asteroid had been carefully hollowed out and fitted with military equipment. Some contained missile launchers, others held energy weapons, and a few housed manufacturing facilities that were producing new weapons even as the battle raged. Commander Nari stood on the bridge of her massive battleship, Incheon's Pride. For 12 years, her ship had been hidden inside a moon orbiting the gas giant in the Tau Ceti system. The moon's surface looked completely natural from space, but the interior had been converted into a secret military base. "Surface breach in 3, 2, 1, announced her weapons officer. The moon's crust split apart along hidden seams. Massive doors that had been disguised as natural rock formations opened to reveal not just Commander Nari's ship, but an entire battle group that had been constructed in secret over more than a decade. The Inchun's Pride was a dreadnought-class vessel, larger and more powerful than any ship in the Galactic Council fleet. But it was not alone. 18 other warships emerged from the artificial caverns inside the moon, their hulls gleaming with fresh armor and their weapons already charging. All ships, form attack formation, Commander Nari ordered. Target the enemy command vessels first. The alien fleet had been approaching what they thought was an undefended system. Instead, they found themselves facing a task force that had been waiting for them in complete concealment for over a decade. Dr. Kyung's research facility was undergoing its own dramatic transformation. What had looked like a simple scientific station was revealing its true nature as one of the most advanced military shipyards in human space. The facility's exterior shell retracted in sections, exposing construction bays where fully armed warships sat ready for launch. Release the reserve fleet, Dr. Kyung ordered from his command center. 24 ships launched simultaneously from hidden bays throughout the station. These were not the simple research vessels that alien observers had occasionally seen leaving the facility. They were frontline warships equipped with the most advanced weapons technology humanity had developed. Each ship had been built using automated systems that worked behind false walls and hidden compartments. For 20 years, alien traders had visited the station to purchase scientific data, never realizing they were walking through one of the galaxy's most productive military shipyards. The transformation happening throughout human space was visible from the Galactic Council's monitoring stations. Intelligence Chief Vorthal watched the displays with growing horror as human military capabilities revealed themselves across dozens of star systems. Every single human settlement is showing military assets, he reported to the emergency council session. Not some of them, all of them. How is that possible? Demanded Counselor Zethra, her crystalline form flickering with agitation. Our trade agreements with humans go back 50 years. We visited their colonies, bought their goods, studied their technology. Apparently, we only saw what they wanted us to see, Chief Vorthal replied grimly. Back on Earth, President Yunji stood before the United Nations Emergency Assembly. The Great Hall had been built for moments like this, when humanity faced its greatest challenges. Representatives from every human world were present, either in person or through quantum communication links. My fellow humans, President Yunji began, for 50 years we have maintained the greatest deception in galactic history. Today that deception has served its purpose. She activated a holographic display that showed the true scope of Project Deep Shield. Every human colony, trade route, and exploration mission since first contact had been part of a single coordinated military strategy. Every farmer knew he might need to become a soldier, she continued. Every teacher understood she might need to operate weapon systems. Every child who grew up on our frontier worlds was prepared for the possibility that peaceful coexistence might not be possible. The display showed the depth of human preparation. Beneath every colonial town were military bunkers that could withstand orbital bombardment. Inside every space station were hidden weapon systems maintained by personnel who appeared to be civilian. Technicians Admiral Sungjin commanded, the human fleet from his flagship Sol's Hammer. The massive battleship had been constructed, in sections at different locations, then assembled in a hidden shipyard inside a moon that didn't appear on any galactic charts. For 15 years, the ship had been waiting for this moment. All task forces report ready, his communications officer announced. The jump gate network is operating at full capacity. Begin Operation Counterstrike, Admiral Sungjin ordered. Throughout human space, warships began moving through the hidden jump gate network. Ships that had been concealed in asteroid bases, hidden inside artificial moons, or disguised as civilian vessels began appearing in alien-controlled systems. The Galactic Council had planned to fight 17 isolated human colonies. Instead, they found themselves facing a coordinated military response from over 200 human settlements, working together as a single unified force. Captain Jisoo reviewed the intelligence gathered from captured alien personnel. Her interrogation techniques were gentle but thorough, designed to gather information without causing unnecessary harm. What she learned was deeply disturbing. The attack on our colonies wasn't spontaneous, she reported to Admiral Sung-jin. They've been planning this for at least 5 years. The Galactic Council saw humanity as an easy target for territorial expansion. What was their ultimate goal? The Admiral asked. Complete removal of human presence from what they consider their sphere of influence. They plan to destroy our colonies and redistribute our population to worlds under Council control. Admiral Sung-jin felt his anger rise, but kept his voice steady. They weren't planning conquest. They were planning genocide. The captured alien battle plans confirmed humanity's worst fears. The Galactic Council possessed weapons capable of sterilizing entire planets. Their strategy had called for the complete elimination of human civilization from 17 star systems, with surviving populations to be relocated to prison worlds. Dr. Won-young studied the alien technology recovered from destroyed enemy ships. Her analysis revealed weapons systems designed specifically for destroying civilian populations from orbit. These were not tools of military conquest, but instruments of extermination. Their planet-killing weapons would have worked perfectly against undefended colonies, she reported to the military leadership. If we had actually been the helpless farmers they thought we were, every human in those 17 systems would be dead right now. The revelation sent shockwaves through human command structures. The preparation that had seemed excessive to some now appeared barely adequate. The aliens had not come to conquer territory or resources. They had come to commit genocide against an entire species. Human forces pressed their counterattack with new determination. Every asteroid field became a potential ambush site. Every trade route was revealed to be protected by hidden defense platforms. Every seemingly empty system might contain military bases that had been waiting in silence for years. The tactic that most terrified the alien forces was humanity's use of concealment technology. Human ships could hide inside asteroids, moons, or even gas giant atmospheres. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking without warning and vanishing before effective retaliation was possible. We're not fighting a normal military, Admiral Krivex admitted to his staff. We're fighting an entire civilization that has been preparing for total war since the day they first met us. His remaining ships were retreating toward the edge of human space, pursued by forces that seemed to appear from nowhere. Every sensor reading showed new human military assets revealing themselves. Shipyards, defense platforms, and entire fleets that had been invisible just hours before. The Galactic Council was beginning to understand that they had made the greatest military miscalculation in their species' history. They had attempted to destroy what they thought was a weak, peaceful civilization. Instead, they had awakened the most thoroughly militarized society the galaxy had ever seen. And humanity was showing no signs of being satisfied with simple defense. Human forces were now advancing into alien territory, their ships moving through space with the confidence of a military that had been preparing for this moment for half a century. The tide of war had completely turned. What began as a Galactic Council assault on defenseless human colonies had become a devastating counterattack that reached into the heart of alien space. Human forces struck 17 different alien military installations simultaneously, their ships appearing through jump gates that materialized without warning. Admiral Sung-jin stood on the bridge of Sol's Hammer as his task. Force emerged from a jump gate directly above the alien military world of Krex Prime. The planet served as a major naval base for the Galactic Council fleet. Its orbital defenses had been designed to repel attacks coming from normal space, not from ships that could appear instantly overhead. Target their shipyards first, Admiral Sung-jin ordered. We need to prevent them from building replacement vessels. The human fleet opened fire with precision that shocked the alien defenders. Every shot found its target, destroying critical facilities while avoiding civilian areas. This was not random destruction, but surgical strikes designed to cripple military capabilities without unnecessary casualties. Captain Jisoo had spent weeks interviewing captured alien personnel, learning the locations of their most important military facilities. Her intelligence reports guided human forces to targets that would cause maximum disruption to the enemy war machine. Their main fleet academy is on Vorth Prime, she reported to Admiral Sung-jin during a strategy meeting. Destroying it would set back their officer training program by decades. Are there civilians on the planet? Admiral Sung-jin asked. Approximately 2 billion. But the academy is isolated in the northern continent. We can strike it without harming the civilian population. This distinction was important to human military doctrine. Unlike their enemies who had planned genocide against human colonies, humanity's counterattack focused on military targets while protecting non-combatants whenever possible. The psychological effect on alien forces was devastating. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council races had seen themselves as the dominant powers in their region of space. Now they faced an enemy that could strike anywhere at any time, appearing without warning and vanishing before effective retaliation was possible. Dr. Won-Young's analysis of captured alien technology had revealed critical weaknesses in their defense systems. The aliens relied heavily on sensors that could detect ships moving through normal space, but their equipment could not track vessels moving through the human jump gate network. Their early warning systems are completely blind to our attack method, she explained to the military leadership. We can position entire fleets within striking distance of their most important worlds, and they'll never see us coming. Human engineering teams had been working around the clock to expand the jump gate network into alien territory. Mobile gates mounted on specially designed ships could create temporary transportation links, allowing human forces to project power deep into enemy space. Engineer Tay commanded one of these mobile gate ships. His vessel looked like a simple cargo hauler from the outside, but it carried technology that could change the strategic balance of entire star systems. When his ship activated its hidden jump gate generator, it could instantly connect distant locations and allow human military forces to appear anywhere in the galaxy. Gate connection established. Ty reported as his ship created a link between human space and the alien military world of Threxic. Fleet Admiral, you have a clear path to the target. A full human battle group materialized in the Threxic system within minutes. The alien defenses had no time to prepare before human ships began their attack on the orbital weapons, platforms that protected the planet's military installations. The speed of human operations amazed even their own commanders. Using the jump gate network, forces could be redeployed from one star system to another in less time than it took conventional ships to travel between planets. This mobility gave humanity an enormous tactical advantage over enemies, who still relied on traditional faster-than-light travel. General Ji-hoon coordinated the overall campaign from his command center beneath Luna Base. His displays showed human forces advancing on multiple fronts simultaneously. What had started as a defensive action was becoming a comprehensive offensive that threatened the very foundation of Galactic Council military power. Status report from all sectors, he ordered. Major Sun-hee consulted her displays before responding. Sector Alpha has neutralized 3 alien shipyards and captured 2 supply depots. Sector Beta has destroyed the main fleet academy and seized an advanced research facility. Sector Gamma has eliminated 4 weapons manufacturing plants and occupied 2 fuel refineries. Casualties? General Ji-hoon asked. Minimal on our side. We estimate enemy military losses at 70% of their pre-war capacity. Civilian casualties are less than 1% thanks to precision targeting. This last point was crucial to human strategy. Despite the aliens' attempt at genocide against human colonies, humanity had chosen to wage war according to strict ethical guidelines. Military targets were fair game, but civilian populations remained off-limits. The contrast with alien tactics was stark. Captured alien battle plans revealed strategies that called for the complete destruction of human civilian populations. The aliens had come to commit genocide, while humans responded with surgical military strikes designed to end the war as quickly as possible, with minimal loss of life. Captain Yuna led her squadron through another successful raid on an alien military convoy. Her ships had been hiding in the outer system for 3 days, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When the enemy vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel to refuel, human forces were ready. All enemy ships disabled, she reported. Cargo secured. No casualties on either side. This was typical of human operations. Instead of destroying alien supply ships, human forces captured them intact along with their crews. The captured materials supported human military operations, while the captured personnel were treated according to humanitarian protocols that amazed alien prisoners. Crixtel, the alien engineer captured during the first battle, had become an informal spokesman for other prisoners. His initial fear had been replaced by confusion as he experienced human prisoner-of-war facilities. They provide medical care for our wounded, he reported to other captives during their daily assembly. They give us food that meets our dietary requirements. They even allow us to practice our religious customs. Why? Asked another prisoner, a military officer whose scales were still healing from battle injuries. We came to destroy their worlds. Why do they treat us with such consideration? I don't understand it either, Crixtel admitted. But I've been studying their behavior for weeks. They make a distinction between military personnel and civilians, between combatants and non-combatants, even between those who start wars and those who fight them. This ethical approach to warfare was confusing to alien observers who came from cultures where total destruction of enemies was considered normal. Human military doctrine emphasized winning through superior strategy and technology while minimizing unnecessary suffering on all sides. The effectiveness of human operations was beginning to break down alien resistance throughout their territory. Military units that had never known defeat were surrendering rather than face human forces they could not locate or predict. Entire star systems were declaring neutrality, rather than risk attack by an enemy that seemed capable of striking anywhere at any time. Intelligence, reports reaching the Galactic Council, painted a picture of complete military collapse. The humans had not just defended their colony successfully, they had launched a counter-offensive that was systematically dismantling alien military capabilities across dozens of star systems. Our fleet strength is down to 30% of pre-war levels, Admiral Krivex reported to the Emergency Council session. Human forces are operating in our core territory. They've captured or destroyed most of our major shipyards and military academies. How long before they reach the homeworlds? Asked Counselor Zethra. At their current rate of advance, less than 2 weeks, the Admiral replied grimly. The unthinkable was happening. The Galactic Council, which had dominated their region of space for thousands of years, was facing complete defeat at the hands of a species they had dismissed as primitive farmers and researchers. But, perhaps most disturbing to the alien leadership was the realization that humanity could have destroyed their civilian populations just as easily as their military installations. Human forces had the capability to wage total war, but they were choosing restraint. They were fighting to win, not to exterminate. This restraint carried its own psychological impact. The aliens were being defeated by an enemy that was demonstrably more powerful than them, but also more ethical. It was a lesson in humility that their civilizations had never experienced before. The war that was supposed to establish Galactic Council dominance over human space had instead proven human superiority in every aspect of military science, technology, strategy, logistics, and ethics. Humanity had surpassed their would-be conquerors in every category that mattered, and the humans showed no signs of slowing down their advance toward alien homeworlds. 6 months after the failed invasion, the Great Crystal Chamber on Vorthan Prime hosted the most important diplomatic gathering in galactic history. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was no longer about conquest or territorial expansion. It was about survival. Admiral Krivex sat at his place around the circular table, but his proud demeanor had been replaced by defeat and exhaustion. 3 of his 4 arms remained in medical supports from injuries sustained during the war. His once gleaming scales were dull and scarred. The mighty warrior who had planned to conquer human space now faced the reality of total military defeat. Ambassador Hyeri entered the chamber with a confidence that had been absent during her previous visit. She was no longer the quiet diplomat who had been dismissed and ignored. Behind her walked a small delegation of human military and political leaders, their simple uniforms a stark contrast to the elaborate robes and decorations worn by the Alien Council members. The holographic displays around the room showed the devastating scope of human military capabilities that had been revealed during the war. Not just the colonies that had defended themselves so successfully, but hundreds of other installations throughout the galaxy that had remained hidden during the conflict. Honored council members, Ambassador Hyeri began, her voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. Humanity comes before you today not as supplicants requesting mercy, but as representatives of a galactic power seeking formal recognition and lasting peace. The displays activated to show the full extent of human presence in the galaxy. What the aliens had seen as 17 isolated colonies was actually the visible portion of a civilization that had established installations in over 400 star systems, hidden shipyards, secret research facilities, and concealed military bases dotted the galaxy like a vast network of interconnected strongholds. "This is impossible," protested Counselor Zethra. "Our surveys show no human presence in most of these systems." "Your surveys found what we wanted them to find," Ambassador Hyeri replied calmly. "For 50 years, humanity has been expanding throughout the galaxy while maintaining the appearance of limited territorial holdings. Every exploration mission, every trade expedition, every scientific survey was also scouting for potential military installations. Intelligence Chief Vorthal studied the displays with growing unease. The human network extended into regions of space that the Galactic Council considered their exclusive territory. Civilizations that had never seen a human before were discovering that military installations had been operating in their systems for decades. "How many ships do you really have?" Admiral Krivex asked quietly. Admiral Taehyun stepped forward from the human delegation. He was a tall man with graying hair who had spent 30 years building humanity's secret fleet. "Our current operational strength includes 12,000 active warships, with production capacity for 3,000 additional vessels per year. We also maintain 40,000 automated defense platforms and over 200 mobile shipyards." The silence in the chamber was complete. The Galactic Council's combined fleet at the start of the war had numbered less than 8,000 ships. Even after 50 years of military buildup, they possessed fewer vessels than humanity had been hiding in their secret installations. "The peace negotiations will be simple and direct," Ambassador Hyeri continued. "The Galactic Council will formally recognize human sovereignty over all territories currently occupied by human forces. You will provide full reparations for the unprovoked attack on our colonies, and you will sign a binding non-aggression treaty that guarantees the security of all human settlements." "And if we refuse?" General Threxic asked, though his tentacles curled with resignation rather than defiance. "Then you will discover why Earth's worlds are never to be struck," Ambassador Hyeri replied simply. The human displays changed to show military exercises taking place throughout human space. Entire fleets moved through the jump gate network with precision that made traditional military logistics look primitive. Weapons systems that dwarfed anything the Galactic Council possessed fired in perfect coordination across multiple star systems, but perhaps most impressive was the footage of human civilian colonies continuing their daily lives while surrounded by this massive military infrastructure. Children played in parks built above underground bunkers. Farmers worked fields protected by orbital weapons platforms. Teachers conducted classes in schools that could transform into military command centers within minutes. President Yunji's image appeared on the displays, broadcast from Earth to every inhabited world in the galaxy. Her message was brief, but carried the weight of humanity's new position as a galactic power. To all civilizations receiving this transmission, humanity extends an offer of friendship and peaceful cooperation. We seek trade, cultural exchange, and mutual prosperity with all who approach us in good faith. But we also deliver this warning. Any attack on human territory will be met with immediate and overwhelming retaliation. Earth's worlds are never to be struck. The message was translated into every known galactic language and broadcast continuously on all communication frequencies. Within hours, it reached every inhabited system in the known galaxy. The age of human expansion through deception was over. The age of human dominance through strength had begun. Counselor Zethra's crystalline form flickered with what appeared to be acceptance. "What assurance do we have that humanity will honor the terms of this treaty once it is signed?" "The same assurance we had that you would honor our peaceful coexistence before you attacked our colonies," Ambassador Hyeri replied. "None whatsoever. The difference is that we now possess the capability to enforce compliance." Admiral Taehyun activated another display showing human monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. "We will know immediately if any signatory power begins military preparations against human targets. Our response will be swift and decisive." The negotiations continued for 3 days, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Galactic Council agreed to every human demand without modification. They had no choice. Their military forces were too weakened to continue fighting, and their intelligence services had finally grasped the true scope of human preparation. The final treaty was signed in the same chamber where the Council had once dismissed humanity as primitive and defenseless. The document established humanity as an equal member of the galactic community with full recognition of their territorial claims and military sovereignty, but The most significant change was not written in any treaty. It was the new understanding that spread throughout the galaxy about the nature of human civilization. They appeared peaceful, but they were always prepared for war. They sought cooperation, but they possessed the strength to demand respect. Dr. Yeji completed her final report on the conflict from her research station orbiting Earth. The document would become required reading at military academies throughout the galaxy, studied as an example of how preparation and deception could overcome seemingly impossible odds. The galaxy is at peace, she wrote, not because of diplomacy or mutual goodwill, but because every major power now understands the cost of aggression against humanity. The lesson came too late for the Galactic Council, but it was learned by everyone who observed the conflict. Humanity achieved victory not through superior numbers or advanced technology alone, but through superior preparation. For 50 years we planned for a war we hoped would never come. When it arrived, we were ready. The final scene showed new human colonies being established on the frontier worlds, their populations going about the daily business of building homes and raising families. But construction crews worked alongside them, installing the next generation of concealed defenses. Underground bunkers were built beneath every settlement. Hidden weapon systems were integrated into every structure. Children born on these new worlds would grow up learning both mathematics and military tactics, both art and weapons training. They would know the price of peace and be prepared to defend it if necessary. The galaxy had learned that Earth's worlds were never to be struck, but humanity would ensure that lesson was never forgotten. In the deeper regions of space, automated systems continued building new installations and expanding the network of hidden bases that had made human victory possible. The greatest deception in galactic history was over, but the greatest deterrent against future aggression was just beginning. Peace reigned throughout the galaxy, maintained by the certain knowledge that any civilization foolish enough to attack humanity would face the full might of a species that had learned to disguise strength as weakness and to prepare for war while hoping for peace.